How's it going, everyone? My name is Kirill, and this is Evan. We're gonna have a little small conversation about business and stuff like that. It's really awesome to have him here. Just like a little chat, little interview. So yeah, how are you doing today? In this
Good,
very
man.
hot weather, man.
Yeah, good to be here in a little bit of an AC room, so.
Yeah. No, that's totally for sure. Yeah, so could you tell me a little bit more, like what kind of business do you have, and how did you, get started in that?
Sure, yeah. So I run a agency in the paid traffic space, so primarily helping small businesses with their lead generation using like Facebook ads, Google ads, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into the business, well, I pretty much finished college with a degree that's just seemed like a dead end to me. It was between like working in the corporate office life or doing something on my own that I could feel a little bit more passionate about, have flexibility with my schedule. So that's kind of the route I wanted to go. I was sort of influenced by one of my friends who was doing a similar business. And I basically started guinea pigging on my dad's business. He has a remodeling business down in Georgia. So I kind of started, learning the ropes through him, running his first advertisements, getting those leads coming in, and I just sort of fell in love from there. That's really where I decided to go all in and start prospecting for new businesses. And
So remodeling business?
yeah, so like kitchen and bathroom remodels for
okay.
homes, yeah.
Wow, that is so interesting. Because like my dad have a very similar type of thing. I mean, he has a construction business, and I also do help him out a lot with like the same thing, like lead gen, like ads and like video creatives and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. What type of construction?
He renovates cafes and restaurants across. So his niche is like cafes, restaurants, and hotels around all New York.
Nice.
Also like locally. That's
Yeah, very similar then, like
exactly,
commercial remodeling.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And so, what do you think? So learning the ropes and stuff like that. What do you think were the main skill sets that it helped you like develop?
So first I would say sales, because in the beginning, the way that I got clients, unless it was a referral, would be cold calling. That was actually like, maybe, I'd love to hear if you had experience doing this too when you were starting, but I would cold call local businesses to me and just sort of, I'd have to create an elevator pitch and get real quick, like right to the point to try and set up a meeting. And that, one, you build thick skin. I'm usually someone who's naturally a little bit introverted, so that was a big hurdle to jump. But I think you develop your conversational skills really quickly, practicing that. You develop thick skin, you get used to rejection, and that can carry to so many aspects of life. So I am kind of fortunate that I went through that. I think it was like a important part of the journey. But yeah, that's how I did the beginning. Then I started hiring some virtual assistants overseas to help me with the prospecting. So doing the cold emailing and sending DMs, and then started running my own ads once I had some case studies. And yeah, I would say those were the main.
Yeah. No, I mean, I also used to cold call, and it was rough. It was really the first couple of days, nothing. I used to do like 100 a day or so, 100 cold calls a day. Some numbers were not dialed in. Some numbers were like, some of them were like, "You're selling dog shit." Like, "You're selling dog shit. Like, don't ever call this number again," and hang up and stuff like that. The first ever I've done, I was literally like hello. I was stuttering.
Oh, same. Yeah.
I was literally like so. There was a lot of things that I actually learned, and then I started watching how like other people do it and stuff, and just like asking questions, kind of like lure them in, kind of, how to say it, try to change their perspective and things like that. So I think cold calling was really interesting. But you said something about like VAs. What are the like? So once you were like started growing, what were the most valuable ROI VAs that you're hired?
Yeah, well, I would say the DMs and cold emailing. The good thing about those is they're low brain output activities. So your VA doesn't even need to be fluent in English necessarily. They don't really need sales experience. They just need to hammer the volume consistently. And thankfully, there's a lot of tools these days that can send emails in bulk, or even automate some of these DMs on LinkedIn and Instagram or whatever. So I think that was really valuable just to save time, because you can do it yourself, but if you're sending out hundreds of messages per day, like if you could just outsource that for, whatever, $4 an hour, I think that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think in the beginning, when me and my business partner started the agency, we had some VAs that would like post on social media for us, although that really didn't get any
Like
returns. It was more so a convenience-based offer.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly the outreach.
Yeah. And like, I would say in terms of like sales, what do you think were, helped you get, your first clients and stuff like that? What were like the most valuable things that you wish you knew that, got you like the first sales?
Yeah, well, getting the first client is always difficult because you're young and scrappy, you want to get to work, but if you don't have any proof that you can do what you say you can, then a lot of people are not going to take you seriously. So the way that we kind of got over that was just offering work for free trials, or at least like contingency-based offers where it's like, okay, we'll work for free for the first week, and then once you get your appointment, then this will be our charge at a discounted rate. So that was really helpful in the beginning to get people to at least try us out. And I didn't even care about the money when I was first starting. I just wanted to get some case studies. And then once I could get results for a couple businesses, then I could leverage that for all of my future prospecting, and that helped close the sales.
So what would you recommend to like the people who are just starting out?
Yeah, look, I would say a lot of people are uncomfortable working for free. Like there's a big, what would you say, like bucket of people that tell you don't work for free, don't devalue yourself, which is true. But in the beginning, like you have to take some chances. You kind of have to be a yes man. So think of an offer that's going to be as risk-free as possible to the business owner, but still allows both people to have some skin in the game. And don't worry about collecting money right away. Collect results, and then the money will come after. It's inevitable.
Yeah. No, yeah, I remember also when I was just starting out, I just still remember those days. I was going around New York City with a camera when I just purchased my camera, and I was going in random restaurants that are just, I was speaking to the managers, can I make a video for free, right? And then where can I send it to? And I would just like film around the restaurants, and I was doing like 10 a day, and I could not walk after that. I was filming, and then I came home and I needed to edit it all and just like send it to them, yeah. And like this was actually how I got like my first clients, and it was really, really helpful. And then I realized that the restaurants don't have any money to pay for the videos, but I still have a lot of case studies that actually helped me build also the skill sets and communications with people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really awesome. Let me just take a look at the next questions that I have. Okay.
One thing I would add to that too is it's helpful because you really get conviction in your sales once you get proof that you can do it. Because when you're trying to sell people, you say, okay, yeah, we'll get you like this many appointments, this many new clients, and you don't really have conviction behind it because you're not sure if you can do it, but you know it sounds nice. But then when you say, hey, we worked with this company for 3 months, you probably know them, they're down the block, this is what you can expect. It's like, it makes it sound so much more authentic.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And so what were the things that you had to learn in terms of like advertising and creating creatives and all of those things to actually book appointments and create results for the people?
Yeah, I did a Facebook ads course. I think that was the first thing I ever invested in for my business, and it was really helpful. I worked with some coaches that they have the video modules where they tell you how to build out the lead generation campaigns from scratch, and then there's a coaching component too. So I pretty much just followed that to a T. And I was very fortunate that that was the first course I invested in, and it was actually good. We could talk about that. There's some pretty shady stuff that's not so good, but that helped. And honestly, anytime I had a question, just being able to go to a mentor to ask them was helpful. It definitely helped speed the pace a little bit. So yeah, I just learned from that course. Just started with one offer, which was Facebook ads at first for businesses. Then I learned Google ads and how those worked. But it's a very high leverage skill set. A lot of businesses, always need leads. So it was nice to have.
Yeah. And so what are the things that, kind of help to maximize, the campaign, and like, for example, if there's some business owners that are watching, what do you think that are key things to focus on? Is it like the creative? Is it like how you structure it properly?
Right. Yeah, I mean, now the landscape has changed a little bit. I would say like 7 or 8 years ago, you used to be able to get away with just putting like a stock photo that you found online with some discounted offer for new clients, and that would get leads coming in no problem. But now I think there needs to be more of an authentic approach, and businesses should be investing in their business brands. So you work with clients all the time by filming content for them. A lot of them don't want to get on camera. They don't want to like talk about their business. They kind of just want to stay behind the scenes. But I think it is very valuable to put a face behind the brands and leverage that, let them know that you're the trusted authority within your community, and just build that authenticity that like builds trust right away. And then of course, from actually getting the clients to want to come in, usually some type of convenient based offer I've seen work really well. So if you're, let's say like a gym, you could say, come in for your free consultation. The model that a lot of people follow will do like a free week trial, or like I remember when we worked with a couple gyms, we would do like 14 days for $14. So just something that's kind of catchy, pretty risk-free for the client. And then the last piece of this would be making sure that the business can actually fulfill on what they promise. So you can have the best marketing in the world, but if your business is lacking with customer supports, maybe you don't do the service in the most ethical way, whatever the case is, then you're going to get a bad reputation, and you're going to have the leaky bucket syndrome where you have all this marketing, but if something's going wrong, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah, like the clients just don't stick with you, and it just constantly, advertising, and all of it just like leaking, and you're doing all the job. Like, it's not sticky. So 100%, yeah, for sure. And so coming back, to the courses things, were there any courses that weren't good?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. How would you say, do you rank them? Like, this was like very helpful. Is it the amount of information, or is it like how the person cares about the you and their students?
Yeah, definitely both. It's a lot of things. You can tell when someone just made a course in one night, where it's just like they recorded a handful of Loom videos in one sitting. There's no editing. Like I've actually paid a lot of money for courses where like they'll start talking in the video, and the guy will like mess up, or his dog will start barking, and he like swears at it, and then there's like this awkward, I'm like, why didn't you just cut that out? But anyways, there's that to it. And then having involvement with the community as a coach, I think, is important, because sometimes people will do the bare minimum. They'll say like, hey, there's this mentorship component with it, but then when people ask questions, they like don't respond to them, or they respond really late. So that, but I think probably the most important thing is just the actual quality of information you're getting. A bad course will have stuff that you could easily find on YouTube. Like there's,
For sure, yeah. Do you think, so here's another thing. Do you think that, how do I say, because in my opinion, I feel like there is a certain level you get to that information doesn't really matter, where when pretty much you have all the information, but now it's not the information that you need, is that the reps and the skill that you need to acquire. And then it's not the information, it's the, you know, reps that you're putting in.
100%.
And, you know, because like sometimes you're thinking, okay, I'm not there yet, maybe I need to buy another course where there's like new information. Like, what do you think that, you know, new information is going to help you get there, or like more of the skill and reps?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm guilty of that. I was a course junkie where like I always felt like I needed new. But you do get to that point where it's like diminishing returns, where no matter how much new information you get, it's not really going to move the needle. At that point, it's just about actually putting in the work.
Yeah.
So in that case, sometimes just more of like a one-on-one mentorship, like someone who could solve your exact problems might be more beneficial. But yeah, definitely, a lot of people are victim to that.
Because like I also used to be that guy, like, okay, I need more information, you know. I'm definitely like missing this like one small part, where in reality, it's like, just do the work, buddy, you know? What I'm
Absolutely,
saying?
yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much, and so when you get the client, right, what is the process that you take them through to make sure that they're successful?
So the onboarding is important. Making sure that you have like that first initial exchange of, okay, I'm giving you money, what's the next steps, is very important, as you alluded to. So I just make sure that everything's crystal clear on the onboarding. I let them know that for the first couple weeks, there's going to be like regular check-in calls where we'll meet over Zoom and just make sure like everything's working properly, answer any questions that they have, troubleshoot, stuff like that. As well as like a Slack channel for them, which is 24/7. So anytime they have a question, they could just hit me up, say, hey, Evan, this is what I have a question on, or I'm wondering about this. That I think is really helpful for a lot of people. And then also just keeping them posted as things get implemented. And also I would say turnaround time too. Like a lot of agencies that are really scaled up oftentimes have like 7 to 14 day turnaround times to where their first campaign won't get launched until then.
Wow, yeah.
And it's like half the month has already gone by and they're wondering, did I just, you know, waste my money?
Yeah.
So I think also having the right systems in place to just get that launched as quickly as possible is really a plus.
Totally, yeah. And so like one of the other things that I also like learned after like working with some of the clients is like, I had this one thing that I filmed the video, and I send it to the uploads to the editor, and the editor is working on it, and at some point the client is like, hey bro, where's my video?
Yeah.
And so I kind of learned to kind of inform them with every step of the process. So like, hey, I uploaded the video, you know, we uploaded the video to the editor, we start editing process, just to let them know, just hit them up like a smaller notification, and then kind of, you know, once like the overall done, okay, we're getting started on the graphics, just like little updates to also, you know, let them, or if something, or if there's like a delay, it's like, hey, sorry, we're like having a little delay, you know, stuff like that. We'll send it to like tomorrow or after tomorrow. So that also kind of helped me to keep them warm, you know, more or less, and like understand the expectations, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, in Facebook marketing and like in Google marketing, you know, data and metrics are like key, and I mean, they are pretty important. So what do you think, in your opinion, what are like the key metrics that, you know, the business owner that should watch out for, or something to optimize for?
So reverse engineering, I think, is the easiest way to go about it. So if you all business owners should know what their lifetime value per customer is. So let's just say it's $2,000. Reverse engineer based on that. You obviously want to be profitable. So it's the next metric behind that would be the cost to acquire them, right? And then you would reverse engineer that, like, okay, so what's my booking rate like? And then what's my cost per booking? So I think starting with that, the cost to acquire a customer, ideally if you can be half or a third of what the lifetime value is, that would ensure that you're profitable. You would at least want to be hitting those numbers. And then from there you could say, okay, if it cost me $600 to acquire a $2,000 clients, then what am I willing to pay for per appointment? And then, you would know your closing percentage, and you would just keep working backwards from that until you figure out like what your cost per lead is, and then that sort of thing. I think a lot of people take the opposite approach. They're too worried about these arbitrary metrics like cost per click or even cost per lead. Like, that's irrelevant if you don't know what your closing rate is like.
Yeah.
So sometimes business owners make that mistake where they're too focused on those front end metrics. Like, they're important, but they don't tell the full picture.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Gotcha, for sure. And what do you think would be like the ways for business owners to optimize, their CAC or their LTVs?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I would say this is something Dan Kennedy said, like the person who can the person who can spend the most to acquire a client wins.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if you could just increase the value of one client from $2,000 to $5,000 or $15,000 or whatever, assuming you're giving them more value, you're not just arbitrarily
pay more.
Yeah, getting them to pay more. But by doing that, you allow yourself more runway to where you can spend more to acquire them. So even if your metrics are a little bit costly, that's fine. You don't necessarily want to be the trying to always acquire clients for the cheapest necessarily. So yeah, making your service more valuable is a big one, like getting them to extend their lifetime value through repeat purchases.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad's in construction. This is a perfect example. A lot of these jobs are one-time jobs, which are very lucrative, and it's great.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to extend that further, what can we do to maybe add a recurring service? So after that initial purchase, maybe there's some type of continual thing we can do for them, right? To make sure that their lifetime value increases that way. So those are like the big things, just making the customer more valuable. And then you can really focus on the marketing, like, okay, how do we lower our cost per lead? How do we increase the conversion rates on our website or landing page? Mm-hmm. That's when those things will make sense.
Yeah, there's like a lot of, cool ways to increase their value and stuff like that. Tweak your pricing, offer like more value in exchange of, more money. And so do you think, so there's like another question that's going on a lot in the internet. Do you think that it's really important to, have a great marketing side, or rather just to nail absolutely the product?
Yeah, ideally both.
Okay.
But I would say you can kind of like figure this out just by looking at a business's reviews, I've noticed. So I've tried working with businesses that have like a three-star rating on Google, like, which is not good if people are unaware. And you could tell just by reading the reviews, like, let's say it's like a dental office, like, oh, the receptionist never picks up the phone, or like the doctors are always busy, I have to wait an hour. Those businesses, you could do the best marketing in the world and it's not going to equate to anything. Mm-hmm. There's just like a hole in their game. So I think at the extreme example, definitely nailing the product first is important. But let's just say you're like not, the ultimate golden business that has like everything right, all the boxes checked. If you're mostly there, let's say you're like a 4.5 star business, so to speak, then yes, you can always find ways to improve by maybe faster customer support or increasing your product value somehow. But I think at that point, focusing on marketing, if you have none already, is probably going to move the needle a little bit, because you just need like traffic coming into your business or your store or whatever, and you could get far just by doing that.
Totally, yeah.
So it's a little bit of a balance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and also I think there's also like this kind of thing that if your product is pretty good, there's also a chance to get a lot of referrals and get the customers pretty much for free.
Yeah,
which is also a really cool thing. So another very interesting question that I found is, what are specific softwares that you use that, helped you bought a lot of your time back?
So in the beginning, Zapier, which is an API tool, that helped a lot because when we would generate leads with businesses, we would have those leads get uploaded to a spreadsheet, and then we would have another automation to send a text message to the client so they could get notified in real time. And then we would also send an email and like all this stuff. Then this tool called High Level came out, which it's a all-in-one CRM basically. And that definitely was like the highest time leverage tool I ever invested in because you could pretty much do everything through there.
That's crazy.
And I would say that one probably by a long shot, just because it's such a versatile tool.
Got it. Did you use anything before you were using like Go High Level?
Well, before that, I had a lot of separate apps. So like Zapier, like I said, using the Google Sheet to upload the leads information. Yeah. I think we used a separate SMS marketing tool at the time. I think it was just Twilio actually, which High Level ended up like acquiring through their system. So it was a bunch of these little tools that were glued together. And don't get me wrong, it was still very convenient as opposed to not having any of it. But it, just way more cost effective to invest in High Level and time effective too.
Wow. Yeah, when I found that Go High Level, it completely changed everything. Like now I could take a look at everything. I can automate everything. I can just and yeah, it's just because before I used Monday, and it was it wasn't bad. It was very pretty looking. You could customize colors. It was it was really awesome looking. But I don't think that I kind of connected to it or something.
Yeah.
And I was using it, but also it was easier for me to write it on the some pad manually leads or something like that rather than to do something in there. And it was just so inconvenient. But then High Level is just it was completely crazy and different. When you work with other local businesses or not local businesses, what is the sales system, or for example with other agencies or other B2B service businesses, what is the sales process that you recommend them to do, or that's completely up to them?
So you're talking about more so for a B2B business, or so if someone. Yeah, it definitely depends on the business. I would say a common one, especially for people in the agency space or selling an online service, is getting calls booked, having that intro call, and then either selling them to a demo, which is another call basically, where you actually reveal the pricing and how it works, or just going straight for the sale. For me at least, I've done a lot of different methods to get these calls booked for my business, starting with the very gritty startup type of methods like we talked about with cold calling and emailing, to more warm approaches, which would be things like a referral. That's the hottest type of lead you can get. But even one step before that might be doing a mastermind with someone, or some type of partnership that you have with a industry ally. So I would say the more you can warm up a prospect before that call, the better. And those were just some of the things I mentioned that brought me the highest qualified types of leads. Also producing long form content too. And this can be done through especially B2B businesses, but even some local businesses I think could benefit by maybe having a YouTube channel and trying some of these longer form type of videos to warm up people.
For sure. Do you think, what are the ways to warm is content the only way to warm up your potential prospect, or what would be some other ways to warm them up?
Yeah, it's a great question. Content definitely, customer testimonials for sure. So that was a big part of my acquisition strategy. Was every time I would have a check-in call with one of my clients, I always record them. One, so I can send them a copy after, but two, also for kind of a selfish reason for me, whereas if they say something really cool, or they talk about the results they've gotten, now I could use that as a testimonial. And sometimes I'll just run that as an ad, like just literally put the clip of them saying something positive or the results they've gotten. And those have like just always generated like the cheapest leads for my agency. So social proof, whether that's a customer testimonial, a screenshot of them saying something nice, a call recording, I think that's probably like one of the highest things you could do to like pre-sell people.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting, awesome. Because I also used to, like I really like the fact that like something that you said, like show them the demo, or give like a 1 week for free or something like that, to kind of, I would say, to show them something, to give them first so they can get the taste of it, that you're not, some sort of a scammer or something who's just gonna take their money and leave. So they could, build some trust. And I really like, there's a lot of the things that I've been hearing about like long form YouTube and how, it brings a lot of clients for like high tickets. And what is your, process for your YouTube channel, and how, what are the key things that other people should know?
Actually, when I first started my YouTube, recording YouTube content, I didn't really have any case studies or like results that I could be like, hey, if you set up the campaign this way, it's going to generate 60 new clients in the first month like it did for so-and-so. Now I can, but in the beginning, what I would do is I would just show my expertise. So I kind of approached it from the angle of like, hey, I am new to this game. I don't really have that many clients. But if I were to set up a campaign for fill in the blank business, this is how I would do it. And I would just like, I wouldn't hold anything away. I would just like give them all the sauce, like tell them exactly what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I actually got like my first couple qualified clients just doing that. So what I learned from that was, and I think what people like Alex Hormozi in the space have also really highlighted, is that just always provide so much value, even to the point where you think you might be giving away too much. There's always going to be a big chunk of people in the market that really respect that and are just going to want to do business with you. It's like that saying, like, just shut up and take my money. I've literally had calls where people have been like, hey, dude, I watched all your videos on YouTube. Like, let's do this. Like, no one else is providing that much value in the space. And those are always like the best clients to work with.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It's really awesome. And I actually like really agree with it, because there's a lot of, things in respect that you actually gain by like, watching those type of things. And it just opens your eyes sometimes, and it's like really awesome. What do you think would be your, mindset, key things or like key disciplines that helped you, kind of get to where you are?
Like key traits to start the business?
Or is there some sort of a discipline that, that you stick to from the morning to morning to remind yourself of something,
Yeah. So I think if someone wants to start their own business, they should probably know that, especially in the beginning, it is kind of a lonely journey. And a lot of your friends and family members, even if they mean well and want to make sure you succeed and stay productive, they might tell you things that can literally destroy your momentum. And I don't know if like you had the same experience, but I remember in the early days, my mother thought I was making like such a stupid mistake, like not getting a real job and, trying to do my own thing. And she would just like say like, oh yeah, but what about like if you work for a company, you get all the benefits, blah, blah, blah. So in the beginning, it seems counterintuitive, especially to a lot of the people close to you. But I think learning to ignore that and just like, you just have to be so committed. Like if someone asks you what's your why for doing the business, that's like the most important thing, is just knowing that no matter what it takes, I'm going to do this because I want to run my own thing. I want to have my own flexibility. So that's very important. And I think also the ability to focus is like, that's just something that's so hard these days for most of the population. I actually think it's never been easier to start a business now than it's ever been. But there's also equal amount of distractions that prevent people from doing it. So there's no limit to information about how to start a business, you know, how to start your real estate investment company or agency or drop shipping store. There's 1,000 millions probably of content, videos around that content. But it's how do I avoid the distractions that comes with all of that content? Yeah. And, you know, we could definitely talk about ways that we stay focused and stuff. But I think that that's a big thing.
No, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, it's still something that I'm working on because, like, myself, because I constantly get, like, distracted. And I do get, like, distracted a lot. And, like, I'm working or, like, I'm writing a script or I'm, like, working on, like, new ad set campaign or something, like, or just writing some content and stuff. And it's like, there's an urge to, like, all right, it's time, you know, you work for, like, 15, 20 minutes, like, all right, I guess we need to, you know, get some coffee or, like, you know, just, like, walk around the room, just, like, you know, do some imaginary thing. It's like, no, you gotta, you know, commit. And I do resonate a lot with, like, with the thing that you said, because, like, my mom and, like, my grandmas, they're, like, from Russia, and they were saying a lot of things, like, really, like, why wouldn't you, like, go to college or stuff like that? Why are you, you know, this? But I think, like, I was so fortunate that I have my dad that is also in this industry, and, you know, me and him were, like, in it together, and he's helping me grow, because, like, his business is way larger than mine, and, like, he's helping me grow. He's, like, showing me the ropes. He's like, okay, you gotta, you know, lock in, like, what are you doing, dude? You know.
Yeah.
And so it's really, you know, really cool when you have someone who's, you know, kind of guiding you or something, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but what are the ways that help you focus and, like, you know, preventing you from, you know, going away from the work and walking around the room or, like, a block or something?
Yeah, I think having a disciplined mindset, I mean, first, just having like a healthy lifestyle is, no, I think people don't talk about that enough, but that just gives you, like, such a head start. So if you can just, like, wake up early every day, maybe go outside for the first, you know, few minutes of your day, get some sunlight, drink some water, eat a good meal, you know, make sure you're doing some type of exercise. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just like in sort of that lifestyle where you're following these healthy habits, if you feel good, you're probably going to perform good. So that's, like, a big thing. And then finding ways that you can also be disciplined in other areas of your life too. So, like, just making sure you do what you say you're going to do. Cutting out a lot of distractions, whether that's Netflix, playing video games, going to the bars all the time. I think in order to be very productive, it's not a matter of what can I add to my life, it's what can I subtract. And a lot of people don't realize that. They're not willing to sacrifice some of these habits that they've, you know, become accustomed to. But that could literally be the make or break of if they're gonna start their business or not.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah, because there's a lot of things that, you know, people do spend their time on, and it's like, it's like, if you think about it, it's, like, completely irrelevant, you know, it's like, yeah. And sometimes, like, all of us do have those, like, you know, I myself do be caught like, when it's, like, a really good video game, you know, like, yeah. But that is something to work on within everybody, and just, like, you know, try to constantly push yourself, you know, doing some healthy things, even like a little workout gets this fog out of your brain, and it's like you see a little bit more clearly now, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's for sure. And so, what were, like, the things, like, how did you get to that mindset? Because, you know, I'm sure that it wasn't always like that, right? But how did you, you know, get there, like, to that type of understanding that, you know what, I'm gonna sacrifice those things, and, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. I couldn't tell you, like, if it was one specific event that happened in my life to where I started thinking like that, but it ultimately, I think it does come down to some type of insecurity, which isn't always a bad thing. Like, there's a bad reputation around that word, but I just see it as, like, what's an area of your life that you want to improve. So growing up, I was always really shy, just kind of did, like, what people told me to do. I didn't really have, you know, like, I wasn't the most athletic kid growing up, whatever. And I don't know. I think like just like once I was in college, maybe the end of that, I started getting really into like the self-development type of space. So anytime I could get knowledge, whether that was like working out or like, eating healthy, taking cold showers, like anything I could do to optimize my well-being became very important to me. Mm-hmm. And then same thing with like social skills too. So just kind of monitoring like what the top people were doing. Those were sort of my role models, like a lot of people in this space like Alex Hormozy and Russell Brunson and all of them. So just constantly feeding your brain with good stuff. I would replace a lot of those unhealthy habits like video games or, doing whatever with my friends to just consuming it with good stuff, like listening to podcasts. And yeah, it's just something happens in your brain where you, I think they call it like a dopamine detox, where once you cut out all those bad habits for like a couple weeks and you stop acting impulsively on them, then your brain craves that same attention from more healthy things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree, because like sometimes even when I listen to too much music, it's like my brain gets foggy, and there's like a lot of things that I'm so like shattered, and like there is some moments where I'm like, you know what, it's time. No music for the week, or like no, you just kind of just like allow yourself to be bored,
Yeah.
And from that boredom, I do think that also like people underestimate boredom, because for example, like years ago there was no Instagram feed, there were no like the way to entertain yourself was to use your imagination, pick up the stick and imagine that this is a sword and go fight with your friends with it,
Yeah.
And also because people were bored, they were going around the world curious or discovering things, and there weren't so many distractions, and I feel like if people were a little bit more bored, they would chase the things that they want to do. Like there's sometimes when I wake up and like I don't really like want to scroll. I mean, there's some things that I need to do, but when it's like more or less free day, and there's like it's a Sunday, right? I'm bored. I don't know what to do, and like, you know what? Let's write today. Let's write something for myself today, or like let's do something cool, productive-wise, because there is work, but there's sometimes work that you actually want to do, not because it's gonna get you something, but it's like super fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you have any?
What you just said is so true. Like allowing yourself to be bored. People can't do that. Like everyone's attention spans these days are, and it's not just kids. It's adults too. Like anytime I go into a Starbucks or something, and I'm ordering a drink, and I won't check my phone for 20 minutes or whatever, and I feel like people are looking at me like I'm a psychopath. Like, why is this kid not checking his phone? You know what I mean? It almost feels wrong to like just kind of like enjoy the moment, be present.
Yeah,
it's so rare.
Yeah, exactly. Even like sometimes, like I feel like sometimes I'm like putting my phone in and out of the pocket like every 2 minutes. Like, okay, calm down. Like, let's just chill and enjoy like what's happening, and like. Yeah. That is so real that a lot of there's constant, like people are in need of like constant change, constant movement, constant something, and it's just like loads your brain with so much like stuff that it's not like in peace or something. But
right.
Yeah, is there some things or like hobbies that you do just like for fun of it?
Yeah. So as far as like working out goes, I every day I try and do something active. So whether that's going to the gym, training jiu-jitsu, going for a hike, or like fishing with one of my buddies.
Oh, that's fire.
So yeah, all of those things, I've always been into that. So you asked like things I do to stay productive?
No. What are like the fun things that you like?
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
You do something that you love.
Yeah, hobbies.
But also like, I mean, if they make you productive, that is dope,
Yeah. So as far as active goes, I would say that, and then I like to play guitar too. So been into music for a while. yeah, I think just entering that creative state with the mind is really important. And then, yeah, outside of that, like, I do like just listening to podcasts, like always trying to learn something, whether that's reading a book at night, listening to a podcast, or, you know, things like that. I would say,
Totally.
yeah, those are probably the main hobbies.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, I really, sometimes, like what we're talking about a little bit like earlier, the city can be like a big distraction. And I really, you know, like, how do I say it? How do I form the sentence? So like, there's a lot of the things that are going on in the city that are constantly running, like, but what I think is really cool is to be able to, you know, get out of to the nature, and like you said, hiking or like fishing. That's really sick that you're like do fishing, whatever. That you can get out to the nature, enjoy, and like, nature is like so much more calm that you don't need to, you know, you can just like leave your phone because it's useless. There's no service, and just like, you know, allow yourself to be bored and look at the trees, just like look at the really, really awesome views. Just like clean your mind off of all the worries, you know.
Yeah, so something I would recommend to everyone who's like a city person, especially, if you can, yeah, just going into nature, like doing a hike through the woods, like that's gonna be so valuable. But one thing specifically around fishing is, one of my buddies got me recently into fly fishing, and you know those suits that they wear in Breaking Bad, like yeah, the nature version of that, they're called waders, but it's basically like this one-piece suit with like rubber boots and like this like overall type thing with like heavy fabric. But you actually like walk into the lake, like you go like chest up or stomach up into that, and you can like feel the current on your body.
Oh, wow.
It's like nice and cool. You would love it because you stay kind of cold doing it. But like just like hearing the birds chirping, it's the most meditative thing I've ever done.
So fire! I thought you were gonna say like, and you like allow all the fishes to like go, you know, like because like that's why I'd imagine when they say like fly fishing, you know. But
yeah, well, there is fishing involved too.
oh, okay.
But yeah, maybe if you stand in front of a stream of like salmon or something. But
yeah, it's gonna start hitting you. But so what is the fly fishing? Is it like when you like throw like the?
So a traditional rod has the reel where you like, you know, you cast and then you reel it in. Fly fishing is a little different. There still is a reel, but I don't even know how to explain it. It takes more technique to like cast it out. Typically it's less weighted, like when you're casting out, the string is different. And yeah, you're supposed to mimic the movement of a fly. So instead of like a lure or bait that just sits in the water and kind of dangles, this stays on the top of the water, and you like give it these little tugs to like make the fly bait.
Okay.
Yeah, to kind of mimic like an actual fly.
Yeah, I mean, I like the reason why I just like watched this movie like a long time ago with like Brad Pitt, and there was like the first shot was him in the river like this.
Yeah.
It's like spinning the rod and like the rope just like flying away. That's remind me of that. Pretty cool. If all the information online would be erased from you, what are the things that you would say to your younger self in the camera right now?
So personal like habits, whatever, just staying productive, writing down my goals and not finishing until I reach those. And it doesn't even have to be anything extreme. I think just being able to have deep work where like you silence your phone for 2 hours, for example. I'm sure you know the amount of stuff you can get done in 2 hours of deep work is more than 2 days for a lot of people. So I would do that. And then in terms of like tangible stuff, like what knowledge should I consume if I want to start my business or whatever, I wish I stumbled upon Alex Hormozi quicker. He's kind of like the new sensation in the space, but all of his information, whether you're looking to start an agency, you're running a real estate business, you're doing something else, it can pretty much apply to everybody. So I would find like valuable mentors like that you can learn from. You don't need to invest any money to get that type of info. Yeah, and then I think just understanding that this game is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So some of the habits you might need to change, like the dopamine stuff we talked about with
exactly.
with video games or partying and drinking, just realizing that you're going to have to cut that away to, doesn't mean you have to completely eliminate it, but in the beginning you are going to have to make some sacrifice because we all have the same amount of time in a day. So
Totally. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. This is Evan. Awesome. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed your cup of coffee or tea.
it's been a pleasure.
See ya. All right.
Awesome,
good
man.
stuff.